Boundaries. Boundaries are something wonderful that actually keeps in what you want to protect, and it keeps outside influences that are negative out. Think about the double yellow line going down the center of the highway. It's there to remind you not to cross over. That's a boundary. When you cross over, you are in harm's way. And if somebody else crosses over into your lane, you are in harm's way. Think of a guardrail along a steep canyon. It keeps you from going over the edge should you wander off. Boundaries are good things, and they aren't rules exactly. They are designed for protection. I have an instance where my dog, Daisy, golden retriever, was out in my backyard. I live in the country, and the deer sometimes come right alongside the fence line. It's a no-climb fence. You can see through it, and fortunately they can't climb it. And I've actually seen my dog and the deer engage one another through the fence. I cringe to think what would have happened if that fence weren't there, because deer can kill with their hooves, even if not with their antlers. And one particular time, I have an instance where my dog engaged a buck with a full rack on his head during the rut season. I hate to think what would have happened had her boundary not been there. My boundary for her kept her in, kept her safe, and it kept that buck out. They used their hoofs to strike against perceived danger. I hate to think of what he would have done to her had she had the freedom to get after him and that fence wasn't there. Think of a boundary that way. Think of your 0 to 5 eating boundary, that I'm going to wait for hunger, and I'm going to stop when I'm satisfied physically. We're talking physical hunger and physical satisfaction. That is a primary boundary in the Thin Within program, and it is designed to be a wonderful thing. In fact, within that parameter of 0 and 5, of hunger and satisfaction, you can eat whatever you choose to eat. In the first phase of Thin Within, you can select any food. No food is off limits. And we get 1 Corinthians 6:12 that says everything is permissible. It's true that not all things are beneficial, and we'll talk more about that later. But everything is permissible unless you have a doctor telling you shouldn't eat certain foods because of an allergy or something. But the primary boundary that we want you to focus on this week is your 0 to 5 eating boundary, if you're going to do this particular study with us. So I'm going to have an online class where we talk about that, and that information will be below as well. We're also going to want to address secondary boundaries. Now, secondary boundaries are boundaries that you use that help you support your primary boundary. If your primary boundary is to eat within 0 and 5, or hunger and satisfaction, what are some things that you can do that can actually help you be mindful of your body's condition? Am I at a 0? Am I really at physical hunger? And am I approaching that place where I'm physically satisfied? Most of us are more aware of our body and how it's feeling if we sit down when we eat. If we are on the run and shoving food in our mouth, yeah, I'm hungry, we kind of lose sight of if we're truly hungry or not. We also find that if we can eat in a peaceful environment, or at least with a peaceful heart, we're less likely to just kind of shovel the food in. If we eat slowly, another possible secondary boundary for you. If we eat slowly, we find that helps us to maintain our primary boundary of eating between 0 and 5, or physical hunger and satisfaction. There are a number of possible secondary boundaries that you might embrace to support you in keeping your primary boundary. This week's class, we're going to talk about that. Barb's Bible study on boundaries is awesome, and so I leave the links here for you so that you can be sure to do that. I hope to see you at the class. If not, you can sign up and get the recording.